Welcome back and happy Tuesday. I have got another powerhouse guest for you. We're not going to talk sports, although I would love to because we do that enough offline and there's too many things to talk about. So this week we're going to be talking about the future of credit. And I have Evan Leaphart, who is founder and CEO of Kiddie Kredit. Hi, Evan.
Hello, Scarlett. How are you?
Doing well. You're the light of my day. It's been one of those days. So having conversations like this really energizes me, and I can't wait to talk about what we're talking about today. So clearly you are, mission driven founder. Loved to hear your background, which all of you should definitely click on the Q&A below to hear more about Evan's vision and why he founded Kiddie Kredit. But can we just get to the crux of it for a second? It's 2022. There is a ton of data sources out there. Why is there still an issue with credit? What's going on?
It's a lot. The statistics show there's over 90 million adult Americans that are still credit challenged to this day. 4 out of every 10 adult Americans don't know how to calculate their own credit score. And we still talk about things besides credit. We teach you how to save, we're teaching you how to invest, which are all good things to know. But credit is pivotal to survive in this country, right? It's the key to getting a loan if you want to obtain a mortgage, a line of credit, or or a business loan if you want to start a business of your own. So if you have a head start on understanding that, you don't have to learn about it after the fact. The main reason we started what we did is we looked at everything that teaches you about credit as it stands today, and it's always a corrective approach. You messed up, hey, here's what you did wrong. You're not starting out at an 18-year-old saying, okay, let me make sure I don't affect my utilization. So I don't have the answer. I'm trying to build the solution, but I don't have the answer.
Yeah, and this one hits home for me. Definitely, and what you said is true. And we have gotten better about the other pieces and savings and whatever else. But credit was something that I did not have my first credit card until I got to university. So I didn't know how important that was. I didn't know any of those stuff. And actually, it was much later than that. I don't even think I might have been 21 or older. I remember doing it and it being a big thing. I definitely didn't understand why you needed that, and especially in the early years, because part of it is around how long you've had that history and whatever else. So it looks in many different ways, and you have no clue what to expect until it happens. And like you said, 90 million adult Americans have credit issues. It's not a small number we're talking about here.
Not at all. And most of everybody, like the story I always bring up is people went to college, you came to the cafeteria and it was like, oh, you could get a free pizza. You sign up for a credit card. Like we signed our lives away for a slice of cheese pizza. That's crazy.
Yep, exactly.
It's
But at the time, dang, that pizza did taste delicious, though. You just didn't
it
realize what
did.
you were doing. So,
Yeah.
so obviously, this is related and unrelated. You're a big sports fan. I'm a big sports fan. So let's talk about gamification for a second, because I do know from a tech perspective that you really have utilized gamification in Kiddie Kredit's mission. So, how does gamification play a role and people's ability to learn? Because a lot of this is the education piece, right?
Yeah. It all starts with engagement, right? Talk about sports, think about fantasy football, right? Like fantasy football has found a way to gamify the NFL to those that may not necessarily even like the game of football, right? But they know like, oh, that's my wide receiver. He caught the ball. I'm in a PPR league. That's 1 point, right? So what we've said is in order for us to properly educate around these topics, finance in general, in particular credit, got to make it fun. It's got to be something to where it's like I want to learn more about this because I want to be better at this particular topic at hand. I think a lot of times efforts on financial literacy is just kind of throwing a lesson in front of your face, and we all know how that was in schools. Like, hey, read this, and sometimes you didn't want to do that. It's like, this is boring. But we always remembered when there was something that we had to learn about, but it was fun in the process. So I think when we think of gamification, it shouldn't just be built for things outside of the topics of finance. These are things that need to be merged together. If we want people to have better financial habits, let's make it fun for them in the process. That's a mutually beneficial solution.
Such an important mentality, and with financial services and the idea of finance in general, part of it is like, quite frankly, especially when you're younger, a lot of people think it's straight up boring and or it's intimidating. So it's like the fact that you're making it approachable and relatable is like a really, really crucial thing. I know in your background you do and you are currently doing care a lot about community. So as you think about the role of Kiddie Kredit and everything else that you're trying to do, what role does community play in this larger issue moving forward?
I mean, community's everything. You know, I look at my journey as a non-technical, tech founder, and I learned a lot over these last 4 years, right? And I wouldn't have done that without community. I wouldn't have done that without my tribe. Part of the reason why outside of Kiddie Credit, I also co-founded the Black Men Talk Tech Conference, which is in October, shortly right before Money 2020, actually. But the reason we did that was I wanted to ensure that founders that are on the same journey as I am, maybe a startup VC is on the same journey, has a tribe around them, be it technologists, founders, investors, that they could all connect together. When I think of Kiddie Credit, right, it takes a village, right, is a phrase that's always used when it talks about how to build up a child. And that's some of the principles that are instilled into the app itself, right? So it's not just something that's intended for the parent and the child. The after school organization can tap into it. You could also have you could have the bank tap into it as well. So it totally depends. So we wanted to build a solution that worked for all.
Love it. Well, you're gonna have a busy October, it sounds like, between what you got going on down there and all the way over in Vegas. So we look forward to seeing you there, Evan. We could sit here and talk for hours. There's a lot of opportunities here. I think there's been a handful of things that have been happening with Kredit for a while, but I'm really encouraged and inspired to see your impact and what you're doing. And for all of you, please read the full Q&A below. There's a ton of other info about Kiddie Kredit, Evan's background. Evan, thanks again. See you in a short time, few weeks, it seems like. And for the
Yep.
rest of you, next Tuesday.